I am a happy, joyful gardener.
That's good to hear.
Yes, and you know why?
No?
Because the soil's warming up. As from yesterday to today, 40 degrees was the high yesterday. Today it's going to be 70. We get to fertilize the things in our perennial borders that need it. And the first thing we're going to talk about are our boxwood hedges that I have. We're going to move on to the hostas, how easy they are. We have some irises we want to fertilize, and some clematis. But that's not going to be a hard job at all, because once we do it, we're good to go. We can watch things grow. So let's get started right here on our boxwood hedge. I've already gotten one done because I get up early and I get going. And I thought, you know, let's just take, if Reggie's up for it, we'll do hopefully a short video on how easy it is to fertilize perennial plants and shrubs. So with my boxwood hedge, what you want to use, I use the organic plant tone, which is great for this type of hedge. And you want to realize that there is a drip zone, and you can almost see how dry it is under here.
I can see it's a distinct line.
So I want to put my fertilizer right in this area, front and back, and then I want to compost over top of that. I prefer in my shade bed, around all of my borders, I prefer to see a composted border. And fortunately, I have a compost pile. If you don't have compost, use a little mulch, whatever you like. So I'm going to sprinkle, several cups and that kind of handful around your plant back here, front and back. Get both sides, because the roots come out from the front, the back, the sides, and the top. That's all you have to do for your boxwood hedge. The nice thing that I love now is this. I love adding the compost. Now you can scratch in your organic fertilizers if you want. I choose to just top it with the compost because I'm doing this knowing that there's going to be rain tomorrow and the next day. So it'll get washed in. There's a pine cone in my compost.
Yeah.
There we go. So I'm going to just go ahead, compost it in. It'll rain tomorrow. If it's not going to rain for a week or two, you want to water in your fertilizers. And then I will compost the backside of this bed. So that is all we have to do with our plant tone today. You can do your arbs. You can do, I have a couple trees in pots. I have some arbs in pots, and before I came down today, I sprinkled a handful of that in my pot to help give it a little boost. Now, the next thing we're going to do is show you how easy it is to take care of your hostas, your hosta bed, and your ferns. Hostas and ferns just love compost. They love well-drained soil. They like to have it moist. And these hostas have done well in sun and shade, and the reason they've done so well is the compost holds in the moisture, and they get morning sun more than afternoon sun.
So you don't use any type of organics on those?
The organics is right here, the compost.
Yeah.
They just want their roots fed with good draining soil, and they come back every year. The hardest thing that kills these are deer.
Oh, I know, those four-legged deer.
Yeah, and I got those sprayed yesterday. So with hosta, just pour your compost all around your plant. And I like along the order. This part of my flower bed down here has very sandy soil. I think it's from all the years that the river used to come up and flood and come down. And as we come around here, I have buckets of compost everywhere. I'm using up my compost. Get that fertile. And it makes it look so pretty. And we know then that it's going to be nourished. The other thing in this bed that we're going to fertilize today are my irises. And the important thing with irises is you want to use the lowest nitrogen fertilizer you can find. I've always used bone meal, but I also have some flower tone, and it's also low in nitrogen. And the way you can tell if your fertilizer, organic fertilizer, is low in nitrogen, you look for the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium numbers. You want that first number to be low because we're not looking for green leafy growth. We're looking for good flower stalks and good flower production. So when you do your irises, you do not want to get your organic fertilizer on, or your compost on top of the rhizomes. These hard things are the rhizomes. So you're going to be putting your yeah, don't breathe that in, your fertilizer around the outside of your flowers. And that's all you have to do, and just hope that it waters in. Now this sedum that's creeping in is so pretty, but the sedum doesn't need fertilizer. Foxgloves, no fertilizer. It's really easy garden to take care of.
What about these lamb's ears?
Nothing, not a thing. You don't have to fertilize lamb's ear. They are drought tolerant. They're just like your sedums. They do not like to be heavily fertilized. They just need well-drained soil. And again, drought tolerance. You don't have to worry about them drying out if it gets real hot, as it has in the past, last year and this year. So such easy gardening. Perennial gardening is easy once you know your plants. We're going to go back here in this back border because I have 2 clematis that I haven't gotten fertilized, and they're class 2 clematis. And
well, what's a class 2 again?
Class 2, they grow on new and old wood. So you want to make certain before you start cutting your clematis class 2 back, you can see the buds coming out. I never start cleaning anything back until I see bud growth, and then I know anything that doesn't have new bud growth, that it is dead. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to cut back that spot right there and clean that up. Same thing on this one. It's very easy to do once you can just, let me get that.
But you wouldn't want to cut any sooner than now.
No, you don't want to cut sooner than this because you want to know where the dead really is. And you don't want to start any of that till you see the bud growth. That, I can't tell.
That's got some growth going on the bottom there.
On the bottom, yes. Here, right here, here's a good example. Oh, that's already off of there. So we have 2 clematis here. The one on the left, right here, oh, you can see a bud. This is Mr. President, and this is Henry. Henry is white. Mr. President, or the President, excuse me, not Mr. President. The President, there we go, is a pretty purple. So this looks good. We just need to
clean that up a little bit.
Clean it up a little bit. Get this. You can tell this isn't going to bloom, so we'll cut that back right there. And right there. We'll let those climb up right there. But let's go ahead. They take rose tone. Clematis, your roses, your hydrangeas, they love rose tone. That's why it's so nice. You can plant in a pot like I've done. I have hydrangeas and clematis in the same pot. That way you can fertilize them the same. They tolerate really good. They're companions. And then definitely give your clematis a nice thick covering of either compost or a mulch because they love their roots to stay cool. And this is all you have to do. It feels good knowing that's been taken care of. So those are the 3 things we were talking about here. Your hedges, boxwoods, the iris, clematis, hostas.
4 things.
4 things.
That's 4
and
things.
we did find a hydrangea in this morning. I had forgotten about this little hydrangea
that came from the church.
It came from Easter at the church.
That was
and I
last
think
year.
it was, yeah, it's purple. And it was in the back of the church. If you want to take it, I took it. And I took it, didn't come with any tags, stuck it in the ground. Look at that. I just put some rose tone on there. So we'll get to see together what happens. Maybe I can figure out what kind it is. I want to get some compost on top of that. But this is it. I'm not done for the day. I'm going to try and move my compost pile, which I haven't gotten done when it was freezing. I want to clean stuff, but this is the best time ever. And you know what? This is the hardest part. Early
What do you
spring.
mean it's the hardest part?
Well, it's like people think, isn't it a lot of work? It's not a lot of work if you know your plants. Once this is all fertilized, all we got to do is keep it watered, weeded, and I have to make room for all those little annuals that started once things, about in June, I get to plant those in to add more color. So it's a great day. I'm going to finish up down here, get out. The weather's looking great. And thanks for watching Gardening on the West Fork, Zone 6B, Western West Virginia, doing a little feeding, fertilizing, anticipating spring's blooms and summer blooms, and it's all fun. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you the next time. Bye. Compost is moved. You can see the worms moving around. There's bugs working up in here, all over, helping to compost my compost pile. Lots of worms and bugs. Look at that. Where'd you go? There we go. Look at that. Everywhere. So this is what it looks like after it's moved. After it's moved, have that space now for all the garden waste and different things. And then this is my compost pile I can use from now. Loving it. You don't need to work out if you have a compost pile.